Hi, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of ISYE Talk. We're your hosts, Sojin,
I'm Celine.
and we're so excited to be back this semester to provide you with more podcast episodes regarding all things ISYE.
Today we're joined by two incredible guests, both proud ISYE alumni who have taken very different yet equally inspiring paths in their careers. Jeff, Roberto, we'd love a brief introduction and overview of your careers. Why don't we start with you, Jeff?
Hey, nice to be with you guys this morning. My name is Jeff Anderson, ISYE 91 at the end of 91. I am a managing partner, chief growth officer, and one of the co-founders of Kaizen Analytics. We are a data analytics, AI and technology services provider based here in Atlanta. That's me.
Perfect. And Roberto?
Hey, I'm Roberto Castro, ISYE 2007. I played on the golf team at Georgia Tech and played professional golf for a number of years after college. And then when I got washed out of that by the younger, faster, better players, I had to dust off my college degree, and I work at CapTech Consulting. I'm a managing director there, focused on our sports and hospitality practices. We do custom software and technology solutions for Fortune 500 companies, but I'm lucky that I get to work a lot in our sports practice, which is fun. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Thank you guys so much for the introductions and for joining us today. And if everyone's ready, let's get right into the questions. Okay, the first question we have for you guys is, how did your time in ISYE shape the path you've taken since graduation, and what unexpected turns did your career take?
Maybe I'll jump in first, Jeff, because I have
Sure.
the most unexpected left-hand turns from the PGA Tour back into the business world. But honestly, I would not have been able to make that transition from playing golf to back into the business world without my Georgia Tech degree. Two reasons. One, the problem solving it took and kind of the process it took. When you're out of the business world I played professional golf for 14 years. It's a tall task to figure out where you can provide value, what you can bring to the market, what's a good fit. And that was a real process I had to go through. So, had to start somewhere, had to make a plan, had to problem solve. So my Georgia Tech training helped there. And then, the credibility that the school has, and there's just a bit of a halo effect that I think is well earned in saying, if you can get through Georgia Tech, you probably think a certain way, you probably have certain qualities. And I needed, some people and my colleagues at CapTech to take a bit of a flyer based on a few things. And a Georgia Tech degree and my time there was certainly one of those. So the problem solving and the credential of just the reputation of the school have served me very well in my strange career path.
Yeah, I cannot match that strong left-hand turn there.
I told you.
But I took a little bit of a left-hand turn myself in more on the business side, which I did not expect coming. But most importantly, I felt like Georgia Tech, and in particular the ISYE program, suited me exactly perfect for it. So I started coming right out of school, and my IE degree really set me up exactly what I was thinking it would, which was a very versatile platform that allowed me to take on different challenges and really whatever kind of my interest was ultimately going to be, because I didn't know coming right out of school. But I went right into a kind of a classic use of industrial and systems engineering, which we could talk a little bit more about, but basically time studies, old school, you bring out the stopwatch, engineered standards. But then at some point, and I didn't even expect it or plan for it, my hard left turn was going into more the sales side of the business. So my role now is sales and marketing. If you would have asked me, when I was at Tech and IE, like, what are the chances you're going to be in sales and marketing? Like, I was the worst interview in the history of interviews. So there was no way that I was ever going to be sales and marketing. I had no confidence. So I just felt like without Georgia Tech, I would not have, in the IE program in particular, I would have been able to make that break.
Yeah, that's very cool to hear about. Definitely gives us hope for our futures in terms of, handling our careers. So kind of building off of that, can you share a project or experience where you felt like your ISY background made the biggest difference?
I'll jump in on this one first, Roberto.
Oh
So,
yeah.
coming right out of school, like I mentioned, engineered standards, hardcore classic IE type of work for a consulting firm in the area of supply chain. So I was working, think about, a retailer's back room doing engineered studies, right? And then also doing facility layout. That was the other kind of key component of the work. But that basis really was the differentiator for me because it forced me to really hone in my a focus on details and getting into that some granular stuff that then I leveraged as my career progressed. And I just that foundation, I'm just convinced that was the right thing for me because going into some other field, I just don't see that playing out as well for my career as it did. And again, it's that just the versatility that tech and the IE program equipped me with allowed it, really, that enabled it.
Yeah, I'd say an interesting one for me project is Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy started this new golf league called TGL, and you hit golf balls into this giant simulator screen. It's indoors. It's in prime time on ESPN, and Captech has been one of the key technology partners since a couple of years before it launched through that whole journey. And there was a moment where I was kind of the player consultant, like, hey, what would this look like for the players? What would the gameplay look like? And there was a lot of hypotheticals. There were some great ideas, and I kind of put my Georgia Tech hat on and said, like, the only way we're going to know is to test this, right? Like, what is a testing process for this this format in this game without a venue? So actually, the first test match took place at a simulator facility in Alpharetta, and I got a bunch of ex Georgia Tech golfers, and we kind of pieced it together. We did, we didn't have the arena to play in, but we said, hey, let's some approximation of it. Let's see which formats work. Let's see what the pacing is like. Let's see what would be engaging for fans. And I think just that test and learn process is something that probably came from, originated in my Georgia Tech days. It was a ton of fun. It happened here in Atlanta. So that's one that definitely comes to mind.
Thank you. As a undergraduate student right now, it's like relieving to hear that our degree is helpful in the future and just that mindset of thinking like an industrial engineer. So, yeah.
You should record a video
But
of yourself saying, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it in this world, and I'm not sure if my Georgia Tech degree is going to be worth anything. And then watch that video in about 20 years and see where you are. I promise you will laugh at yourself. I promise you.
yeah, so looking more into the future for younger generations like me, where do you see the biggest opportunities for ISYE graduates in the next 5 to 10 years?
Jeff, you probably hire a bunch, so you jump in there.
Yeah, I think the easy answer on this would be the whole enterprise AI space. That being said, I think there's a particular portion of that what I've seen so far in the folks from tech and IE program that we've hired is really being, I'm going to call it a gap filler in that being able to sit between knowing the systems and having the systems mindset. And I'm talking about hardcore systems, like systems that actually, like enterprise systems, um, with understanding how to process massive amounts of data. And yet, probably, and most importantly, might add, having that business mindset and the problem solving aptitude, I guess I would say. Normally, you find one of those three, or maybe if you're lucky, two, right? But what I believe that is going to be most important, and where I'm 100 million% convinced that Georgia Tech is in the exact right spot for this, is that having that person that can like sit right in that pocket and know all of that. And then because you may get somebody that really understands the business, but then they're completely they just fall flat when they try to explain that to the technology folks, and vice versa, right? I mean, the opposite is really a very common thing where someone that speaks really good technical can't speak to the business. But the Georgia Tech folks and from the IE program, time and time again, they are perfect for that. Now, then there's also the concept of putting AI to work for that, and I've got several examples of what my company Kaizen is actually doing on this front. But it has to do with leveraging agentic AI to help scale companies. It gets a little in the weeds pretty quick. I don't want to get into it necessarily here, but if somebody would like to talk to me about that, please feel free to reach out. I love talking to the folks from ISYE and the students, and I can do whatever I can to help you out. That's my commitment to you guys.
Yeah, I would echo what Jeff said and maybe just dumb it down a little bit from my perspective. Just having recently, I was at an event last week with the founder of a really successful company. It's not in technology, it's in the consumer space. And his perspective was that, like, at the end of the day, every company and every problem, everything comes down to people and the connections between those people and working together with other people. And they make you do group projects in elementary school and then all the way through senior design where you have to work with 4 people, or 3 or 4 was my team. And that is how the world works. Like, that is why those projects are designed that way. And I think that Georgia Tech grads are well positioned to work with other folks, to bring value, to bring accountability, to be someone that others can count on. That is always the most valuable commodity, is you do what you say you're going to do, and the school just demands that from you. So I think those are all going to be qualities that you and your classmates should carry out into the market, and it'll bring you great success.
Yeah, I completely concur with that, Roberto. That's a really well said component, that kind of the softer side of the equation as well. That I know Georgia Tech folks come out with a better score on that, believe it or not, based on what I've seen, largely because of the problem solving component. But I guess I would also even throw on top of that, with respect to some of the core skills that would probably be best suited, I'd probably just reiterate the whole communication thing, just understanding the problems, being able to really, and then plus the work ethic. I think there's an element of the work ethic that all of you have gone through, and are, like, you work really, really hard. You come out and it's just not even a competition in this space. Like, when people think that they're working hard, they don't know working hard like Georgia Tech IE. So
good call.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. I went through senior design last semester, and I definitely feel like it was there. The teams are bigger now. So my team was 8 people, and it just taught us a lot about working together, and also like the amount of work that we were producing every week. It was just like a super, like, definitely the most applicable experience. So yeah.
And was that, just a quick follow up, was that a mix of virtual and in person, or was it one or the other?
Senior design?
Senior design, yeah.
We were all in person, but our client contact was virtual. So most of our meetings were in person, but we had some virtual.
And that's exactly the way it is today. So that it's good to hear that the balance is there, because in person is important, as is being able to effectively do it on this the virtual platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember my senior design was a 40-hour-a-week job, in addition to all the other stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's a good preview. I have a friend who's a Georgia Tech grad, not an ISYE, and I think he has a saying where he's like, people underestimate how much work it takes to accomplish or push a company forward, or like the amount of work it takes to be really good at something is a lot higher than people think it'll take when they start out a venture. So it's definitely good prep.
Very true. Yeah, senior design gives you a little taste of what's to come.
Yeah. It's also like, how does, name a Fortune 500 company, like, how do they have 100,000 employees. Like, what do they do? Like, how does JP Morgan have 150,000 employees or something? It's like, well, it takes a lot of work to be the biggest bank in the world. And they may have twice that many or 3 times that many. I'm not sure. But it takes a lot of work and a lot of people power to run something at a global scale. It's crazy.
Very good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we thought we'd wrap things up with one last fun question. So what was each of your favorite memories of Georgia Tech?
I'll actually just pile on to senior design. That was a ton of fun. I did it with a few swimmers. My crew was a part of the swim team. We had a great client, and you spend 40 hours a week together. That was a great memory, and I had never done anything like that. I played an individual sport on a team. We were very focused on that, but to bond together on a project was kind of a new experience for me. So that was a good memory. In addition to all like football games and travel for golf and all that stuff. But since we're talking ISYE, I have great memories of being holed up in that, instructional center every day.
My memories of senior design were not as favorable. I really struggled through it personally. I mean, it was fun and all, but that was in those days we didn't do as much group stuff. So again, going back to I was really uncomfortable in front of people and all that, and that's changed a lot. But probably my favorite memory, dating myself, of course, but all within the same, call it month. I met my future wife and still wife, who was also Georgia Tech civil engineer. And then we won the national title in football. So that's the giveaway year. But there was just something about that. And having not been an athlete, not Roberto's level athlete and doing it in college, I got a lot of respect for guys like Roberto who have done that. But I consider myself really, athletically inclined growing up, but I still say that I won the national title. Like I got a national title. Honestly, I feel like that. Because I just felt like a blood, sweat, and tears all through with the team. But that was about as close but it was just a magical time at Tech. And then the basketball team was also doing well at that same time. So easily my favorite. And hopefully you can kind of tell, like I would not have done anything differently. Started as ICS, went to ISYE, and that was absolutely the great decision for me. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for sharing their favorite memories. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of ISYE Talks. A huge thank you to Jeff and Roberto for sharing their stories, insights, and advice. It was truly inspiring to see how their ISYE background shaped such unique career paths, and I think it genuinely gave me more hope and just power to push through and trust the process.
You got it.
I would echo that.
Thank
It was
you.
very interesting to hear, about each of your experiences, and good to hear that, the degree makes a big difference down the line. So that's always inspiring. And then to all of our listeners, we hope you enjoyed listening and took away some valuable lessons for your own journey. Be sure to follow ISYE Talks for more conversations with alumni, faculty, and students. And until next time, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of ISYE Talks.